What's going on, everybody? It's one of your hosts, Andrew Jakubitz, here on the microphone for episode 10 of the Casual Millennials Podcast. We made it double digits. A little surprised myself. We kept this going as long as we have, so it's probably good for the future. I'm here, as always, with my co-host, Eric. Eric, how's life?
Doing great. October 2nd now. Everything pumpkin related. Pumpkin spice, pumpkin coffees.
Second day of sober October for me.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man, doing it.
That's awesome.
Here we go.
It's the first time you haven't had vodka in the water bottle.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. But we are joined by best friends, and I'm going to let you guys tell a little bit about yourselves here.
My name is Corey Wolf.
Yeah, I'm James Sikorsky.
So who is best friends? What are you guys?
So Corey and I, we both DJ and produce under that name, Best Friends. We started the project in January of this year. And yeah, we kind of hit the ground running. Just had our first gig in early January. We had talked about doing the project for a while, and it was just kind of on the back burner until we had an opportunity and the equipment and everything to get rolling. And once we started in January, we just kind of kept it rolling right away with more gigs, and it kind of grew pretty fast, from there throughout the year up till now.
Yeah, starting from the beginning, I'm a little bit newer to DJing. I had started just collecting vinyl just because I thought that was cool. I got my uncle's collection. Back then it was just Beatles records, just old stuff that you find everywhere. But I love hip hop too, so looking at people scratching old records that progressed into buying my own equipment and nothing really serious. And then I rocked a couple parties. My first gig was a 24-hour gig.
Oh man.
I did the River West 24, so I pretty much just grabbed every record I had, even slow jazz, because I had to fill the time. And from then, people loved it, and I was rocking parties, and then that's when James was kind of always nudging me hey, we should do this for real, because James, you've been at it for quite a longer time, huh?
Yeah, I'm 27 now, and I've been DJing, I guess, for around 10 years now. I started just hearing music, when dubstep first started getting big, and deadmau5 and all that stuff started getting more mainstream. I was one of the people that just kind of was wow, this is really cool. And my buddy Steve and I, he's actually in Antics from Milwaukee. Before he was in that project, him and I DJ'd a lot of parties together as well. That's a good way to start, is just in people's basements and that kind of environment. And I had multiple projects I did on my own, on and off over the years. I've also been in bands and whatnot, playing bass. And within the last year, before working with Corey, I was DJing under the name Walter, my middle name, for a couple of years. And that was always on and off. I would produce music but not really release anything. Shows were always very spaced out, just life stuff getting in the way, changing jobs and whatnot. And as Corey was getting interested, I really liked the idea of having a partner and just kind of trying something new, because I'd always been doing it solo. And we have just a very eclectic music taste, very similar music taste. Last year around this time, before we even started, we were just joking around with names, and we came up with the name Best Friends just kind of for fun. I'm a graphic designer, so I just kind of threw together a logo, and we thought it was really cool. I think around that time period, I played Fifth Street Fest last year as well, and that was actually the first time Corey and I DJ'd together. I was booked solo, but I had Corey come with me. We just went back to back, and that was our first experience, and it went really well. And then, throughout winter, we were just kind of messing around here and there until we got our first gig this year. And that was when we were okay, cool, let's take that logo I put together, actually make a Facebook page and do all the social media stuff that goes along with it. And it just caught on really fast, and here we are.
Supportive friends, that helps a lot.
Yeah.
When you can bring a crowd of people, the people that book you are all right, cool, let's do it again. And then when you get locked in a couple weeks, then you have a schedule. It starts to look legit.
Sure. This is actually kind of cool, because Eric and I just started this podcast this year, kind of out of the blue. I had been doing a podcast beforehand solo as well, just sold at $1,000. So I really wanted to start something a little bit bigger, a little broader of an audience, kind of like this, obviously. And Eric has had an itch for podcasting for a little bit now. I never really started it. So that's kind of how we got started as well. So it's kind of interesting that you guys kind of can grew that out of this inkling, really.
2019 just a magical year for starting things. Yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work too. It's like having someone to hold you accountable for stuff.
Yes, 100%. When it's just you, you're kind of like, I can do it tomorrow. I told her I gotta do this tonight, I gotta get it done. So there's definitely some of that.
Yeah, definitely more encouraging having another person. First gig that we got actually was, so I started working the location that we're here now, the Hive. I started working with Kelsey and Mo and Michael, and I'm a graphic designer for Rebel Squid, one of the companies here. And a guy who had come in that was working with us at a bar, he was like, oh, by the way, I need a DJ for this weekend if you guys know anyone. And I was like, oh, I'm a DJ, And it was actually an open format type setting, where it's 2000s music and hip hop and pretty much everything in between. And I myself kind of come from an electronic music background, house music, playing in clubs like that. So I was comfortable but not fully confident in doing it. Whereas Corey, in his spare time, he had been doing the complete opposite of me, with his vinyl and everything.
Top records
and
party music.
Yeah, and he had just gotten new equipment that would have been perfect to go there with. So I was like, okay, cool. This is the perfect opportunity to kind of like work together and just test run things. And it went really well. We both learned a lot. Even me DJing for 10 years, I learned a lot from him just by doing that first gig. And then, like I said, it just kept building from there.
So how does two people DJing work? Like, walk me through the logistics of this, because obviously only one song is playing. And only one person could necessarily be scratching, right? So how does that work?
Yeah, so it kind of goes however you want it to go. I mean, when you're DJing, you're just playing, songs back to back, mixing them in and out, and controlling all the levels and everything to make sure everything sounds smooth. And then of course, if you add an effect or scratching, along the way to make it more fun, depending on where you're at. So, one way to do it is just you take turns playing songs one after the other, or you can play 3 songs and he'll play 3 songs.
Okay.
A lot of the time, if someone brings in a song that you don't know, you'll be like, oh, that's cool. I actually have a good idea for what's going to come next. And because we have such an eclectic music taste that's very similar, we're able to kind of like build off each other throughout the night. You know what I mean? And you get those moments where you're really in sync and things are sounding really cool, and it's just kind of like special.
Organic.
Yeah, it's really organic, really special. You're like, wow, I wish we could have recorded that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You try to like remember those transitions for later. Like all these 2 songs go really well together. And yeah, or on the complete opposite side of it, one of us could be playing for like an hour while the other one's like hanging out and just kind of like taking a break. Because one of us will be like in the zone,
sure.
Depending on like who's there. I remember one night specifically, I'd been holding it down for a bit, and then we actually had a large group come in that were celebrating a birthday or something. It was like 20 or 30 people at this bar, and they had requested salsa music, which randomly Corey had a bunch of that on deck.
Which normally we're not too well versed in that, but we played a private party where somebody requested it, and I was like, man, I hope this is what you're at, because if there's a group of people and that's the entire bar, and they all want one thing, it's kind of snobby to be like, no, I'm going to play what I'm going to play, which some people are like that, but we like to bring a good time, so...
There's a time and a place.
Yeah. Well, and the people there are buying drinks, they're making the venue happy, right? Which then, makes you guys look good. It's a fun time, for sure.
I mean, we've had times where we're playing all 90s hip hop and have a really good vibe and everyone's enjoying it, and then you'll have one person come up and say, hey, can you play Firework by Katy Perry? And it's like, I want to make you happy, but at the same time, no.
It's a balance. It's all like a nice balance.
Yeah. And then also that's at bars. I mean, clubs are completely different. If we're playing at, like Site 1A, for example, is probably one of our favorite spots to play. It's a club here in Milwaukee, and they get a lot of national and international touring DJs, a lot of house music, techno, drum and bass, you name it. They get tons of great artists, and we've been lucky enough to play a handful this year. That's kind of where you get to come in and play more like your style and your selection, and hold it down as like an opener or as a direct support person, and kind of like prepare the night for like that headliner. And usually they book people that kind of complement that headliner. So that's like a good opportunity to show like what you're about. And a lot of the time, in our case, for example, too, it's someone who else produces music. So if you're producing house music, similar to like that headliner in that vein, then it's kind of a good opportunity for the crowd to hear what you make and what your style is, you know, to hopefully open up opportunities in the future.
Yeah, and get fans.
Yeah, and you also don't have people coming up and requesting songs either.
Right.
But then it's also your job to, you know, keep it maintained as like a high energy, you know, smooth performance without overpowering that headliner and stealing the show, but also not boring people where they want to leave.
Right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought, actually, now that I think about that for openers who are really trying to just maintain a level of excitement, keep everybody excited, pumped, but don't want to like overdo it too much maybe.
Something I learned early on, I forgot who told me it, but one of the hardest jobs is actually being the very first opener, because not only are you starting the night off and setting the vibe, but you're also, you know, keeping people there and interested without playing anything hype at all. You're keeping it very chill and respectable, you know, and that's even tougher than someone playing right before the headliner or anything else, because, you know, you kind of have to have like a very specific style that you're playing almost, you know, to maintain that energy.
Sure.
And not overstep your bounds, but also, you know, keep everyone happy and interested.
And look good yourself, right?
Exactly.
So it's all part too.
Yeah.
And everyone's sober.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, there is that too.
Sober enough.
You could go from playing where, you know, there's only 5 people there when you first get there and are playing, and then by the time that you're done with your set, you know, the club is already filled up.
Sure.
You know what I
We've
mean?
had that a couple times.
That's
So-
very cool.
Yeah.
So I have a question, and it might be stupid, but I'm just kind of ignorant in the subject.
No stupid questions.
So you guys, you DJ, you make music that way. Do you guys like make your own music too, or like when you do DJ, like can you record that and that's yours? Or, like, how does that work?
Well, ideally, someday we'll have like a full set of just our music, and people will come to listen to that. But for the most part, it'll be like other people's music. But our value is taking the time to find that good music and find a way to mix it all together to where it sounds natural. And yeah, I mean, the amount of time that we spend just looking for music, finding a good way to download it, like that's a lot of the behind the scenes work. It's not just like someone gives you a perfect playlist and then you go out and you press play and play. Because not only is it playing those songs, it's like, when do I decide? If you play a full 7-minute song, people like, get the gist of it. Like, you don't need. So it's figuring out how you're gonna blend these to make it sound natural. That's like a lot of the battle too.
Yeah, that's why good DJs get hired and have jobs, you know, otherwise everyone would just be playing music off of Spotify and there's a lot of DJs, you know, that are learning or just don't know what they're doing, you know, where they're just kind of up there playing whatever they like and not appealing to the crowd or respecting the opener, you know, and those people don't usually DJ shows like that for too long, you know what I mean? And or they have to work to get better at, you know, what they're doing. And there's lots of trial and error. I mean, I've definitely had that throughout my entire time DJing, you know, both with us and on my own, where you have shows where you definitely like start the night off playing stuff that's too heavy or too strong or just like the wrong genre. I've played shows before where, you know, the entire time everyone is literally sitting down because you go in there playing a certain style that you think is going to work, and it's just, you're not the right fit for that show, where, you know, you should have thought ahead to play something different, or they're just into that style of music, and then the next person comes on and plays something completely different, and then everyone's out, you know. And that's just the way it goes. Sometimes, you know, you learn from these experiences and do your best just to grow and to stay flexible, to play stuff that everyone appreciates, but also staying true to yourself and what you want to be kind of like marketed as, I guess. You know?
Yeah. I think branding is like huge.
Yeah.
Because there are so many DJs, and I mean, realistically, it's not that difficult to mix, but you're not just buying into the music, you're buying into us, our image, the places that we play, what we put out for content. It's like Instagram is big.
Yeah, social media is very important. Being a graphic designer, like I do a lot of our graphics, and
Super helpful.
you know, it gives a little bit of legitimacy to everything, you know, just to kind of help people have that visual aspect of like, okay, these guys are actually at least trying to like look legit. To go back on your question too, in terms of like making your own music, Corey and I both produce, and we have for a long time, even before Corey was DJing, you know. Corey used to MC, used to, you know, write a lot of like hip hop lyrical type stuff, and he also used to produce beats. Like I said, I've been in bands and producing as long as I have been DJing, and a goal with this project is definitely to release our own original music as well as remixes for other artists. And a lot of that is trial and error and just getting stuff ready to the point of releasing it. We haven't released anything yet because we've been so focused on DJing and building our brand and connecting with people that up until recently, writing music has kind of been on the back burner. And within the last couple of months, we've actually been producing a lot of original house and electronic music, a couple other different genres and styles, and we're kind of just fine-tuning everything to get to that point where we can start either releasing it for free and just kind of like giving stuff out to show what we have, and then also getting ready to give it to other DJs and labels to maybe try to get something like signed as like a single or add it to a compilation. We're also communicating with a lot of different Milwaukee artists that we're either interested in working in for like vocals on a track or maybe remixing. Amora Girlfriend is a local duo that make fantastic electronic music that we really resonate with, and we're talking to them currently about trying to maybe work with them on doing a remix of one of their songs for the upcoming EP. Another artist that we're close with that we've actually DJ'd with and who usually comes out to support us is Lex Allen, and we have some ideas in the future of working with him, just doing some vocals on one of our tracks. So there's a lot of different ideas in the works, and generally what takes you kind of to that next level of getting to tour and play bigger shows and whatnot is when you're actually releasing music, because then when you're playing these shows, you're actually offering more of your style and your songs, and there's more people coming to see you because you actually have these fans that enjoy the music that you play.
They're there for you guys, not necessarily good music made by other people, right?
Exactly, and a lot of the local DJs that do the best, not even here, but just like everywhere that you see, usually have music on SoundCloud and Spotify, and they have original music, they have remixes, they're signed to independent labels, So that's kind of like the goal long term to kind of like ease into in 2020.
But you said you do have like some original stuff right now, just kind of that you've been working on?
Yeah, on our SoundCloud we have one really goofy random edit of there's this guy named Tom Brown, and I think he's like 80s. He's kind of like disco funk artist.
It's good. So like one example of why a remix is cool. So that song is old. It's from the 80s. It's a great song. What is it called?
It's called Let's Dance, and it's by Tom Brown. And I remember hearing it on Spotify on my Discover Weekly, and it was really cool where I wanted to play it, but it was very goofy where the structure, there was a lot of like saxophone and ad-libbing, and it wasn't very structured to be like a dance song that you could like play out, even though we really liked it. So essentially what we did was we took the original song and bought it off iTunes and just kind of like chopped it up. And we took the best parts that sounded dancey where it was like a steady beat, and we essentially, did some mixing and EQing on it to be able to put other new drums over it and a new bass line over it, and tweaked it so that we could like rework it, added an intro and a drop and an outro and all these different.
Sound better for the club.
And then you're also able to mix it into other songs, because there's that intro of drums where you can transition. And we worked on that, and we just wanted to get something out, and we just released that on SoundCloud. And
people liked it. There's times when we played that out, and that's a great feeling when, like, out of all the songs throughout the night, someone's like, dang, like, what is this? Like, because people a lot of times will just say, hey, what is this? And I'm not like a track guarder. I'll tell people, music is so accessible. It's not the 80s where you have that one coveted, like. So I'll tell people, and like, there's been multiple times where that song out of every, you're like, what is this? And that's that goosebumps feeling to where, okay, I'm doing something right.
It's only got like 500 plays, I think, on SoundCloud, which isn't a lot, and that's fine. We just wanted to get something out for ourselves. And the coolest thing, though, I think, is one time when we were playing it at Belmont, because we play there on the regular now. Vin, our friend and the bartender there, he was actually Shazamming it while I was playing it, and it was cool because I was like, do you like this? And he was like, oh yeah, I love it. I was like, oh dude, we literally just put this out like a week ago, So that was pretty cool. That's the kind of thing that makes you feel good for sure. What was I gonna say? I don't know. Yeah, that's basically the goal, is just like getting more music out, for us as we move into the new year and continue to grow the project. That's kind of the direction we want to go. Not just local, necessarily DJs that just play on Fridays and Saturdays, but we wanted to kind of take it and turn it into a full-on project where we're collaborating with other musicians. And that's kind of where the name comes from too, is like we are really good best friends, but also we have so many friends in the music scene in Milwaukee that we really want to keep it open to the idea of multiple friends and kind of like jump in with us and work with us, And also we don't have, fans or listeners in that regard, but more so like everyone's our friend. We just want to meet people and kind of, put ourselves out there and, have it be that kind of energy.
Yeah.
It's like a Wu-Tang fan, right?
Yeah.
It can grow as big as, whatever, so.
As big as you can get, right?
Yeah.
So it's been the biggest learning curve for you, kind of really diving into this full-fledged being a DJ, kind of for really a year now, for real,
Yeah.
if you will.
I'd say for me, it's been learning about electronic music and just how to properly play out, which sounds pretty basic, but it's a lot.
Play out, you mean like end the show, or how do you define
Play out like playing in front of a crowd.
Got it. Okay.
Because like certain stuff in my bedroom sounds really cool, but then when you're standing on a stage in front of like 100, 200 people, everything you feel like is so important and every little movement matters. So thankfully I have a mentor who has done this for a long time. So honestly for me, it's just been like learning how to make it sound good live, and also social media, because I'm very musical. Like throughout my whole life, I sing, play instruments, like anything musical. For me, the visual aspect, to where like sometimes I like to be like funny or goofy or just random, to where it's smarter to be very meticulous with how you present yourself on social media, which once again I can thank James a lot. So between just mixing and like making yourself look good and cool, I think that's like a lot to learn, but keeping your original funk and flavor in it, yeah.
That's really interesting. I'm just curious because like obviously I've never DJed before. I technically did DJ one part of it. I utilize Spotify. So it counts, yeah. It was a great time. I thought of that. So that's interesting. I was just curious on how when you start new things, because like I just thought of like it's really interesting thing to like be afraid to be a beginner at something again.
Yep.
Just recently posted about LinkedIn, but like we were talking about before, I just started jiu-jitsu, I just started teaching, and these are all things that are super new, so I'm just curious on what you've experienced being so new at something, and even having a mentor that helps a lot.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of Corey because he's gone leaps and bounds, not even with just his project, but we both do a lot during the day and have a lot going on, across the board. So I'm very proud of how much time, effort, work, all of that Corey's put into the project, and just as a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And he's actually taught me a lot too, just because I've been doing this a long time, there's always room to learn stuff.
Yeah.
There's been times where, I've been intimidated by something that we're doing, or I can get easily frustrated, where Corey's definitely, brought me down to like a neutral level and kept me, in place with where we need to be. Something that I've been excited for too, for Corey personally, just from like an outside perspective, is there's opportunities this year that we've gotten that I've been generally stoked on that I haven't even had the past 10 years. So for Corey to have experienced so much with not even being at this for an entire year, it's gotta be like, I look at him, it's gotta be mind blowing, just like with how much stuff we've been doing and taking on.
Sure.
I mean, I'd say on average we play at least 10 shows a month, even if they weren't all in the same month. We've really been
all different places too.
Yeah, we've really been grinding all across Milwaukee, whether it's been like divier bars to bigger clubs to like smaller festivals to outdoor stuff. All October long we have a lot of stuff planned. We have stuff situated for the end of the year.
Nice.
So for Corey to be able to take all that on, being new, and just hold it down, it's great to see in a partner, and that's exactly why we're working together, doing all this, and why I thought it'd be cool to, have him specifically, work with me, and vice versa.
For sure. That's actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because this brings me to a question I was kind of thinking about, and that's time management. What's your guys' key to managing time between your day jobs, as well as DJing, as well as maintaining the friendship, maintaining other relationships, and everything else that life can throw at you? What do you guys work on, or what do you guys at least
we're still learning that part. That it never gets easier, especially this month. You know, this month is so crazy between personal stuff. I mean, I just got engaged.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm in the middle of planning the early stages of that.
At the busiest time, that's when you decided to
Recording it.
My brother is getting married next month, and we're going to Oregon for that. Here where I work, you know, like I said, do graphic design, so I have, you know, all these clients that I'm working with, which are great. Attached to my company that I work for is another company called Swarm, and we do events. So we actually have Oktoberfest this weekend. We have Wingfest at the end of this month. You know,
And then 12 hours is what comes back.
Yep, 12 hours of Christmas. So doing all these events in the city, you know, it's a lot of fun and it's great, but it's a lot of work. And then on top of that, we have events here at the Hive. You know, Corey's starting a new job next month. You know, Corey's got a girlfriend too. So you know, there's and then family and other friends and you know, trying to find personal time for yourself. It's crazy. And this month especially, it's been like wild. You know, we're just trying to keep cool and take it one step at a time. So some of these shows, you know, the one in Liquid we got asked to do I think a week ago.
Yeah.
You know, where we only have a week to prepare with all the promo and you know everything. So it gets very stressful. There are times that like you know we argue and kind of get at each other like any relationship, but at the end of the day, you remember what's important and you just get your stuff done. Like you just get to work and you don't make excuses and you work as hard as you can.
Right.
And when you don't work as hard as you can, it shows.
Yeah.
Because if you show up and you don't perform as well as you could, if you're a real one, you know deep down like, okay, well I didn't do a good job, so I don't want to feel like this again. So you just got to keep those low points in your head of like, okay, well, that's why we work really hard and keeping a calendar.
And calendar is huge. Calendar, I was never a calendar person until this year, and I have one on my phone that I use, and I also use like an actual one that I write in, and that is so essential just to like keeping your sanity, and you know, especially when you have so much going on between work and DJing and you know personal stuff. And I'm a firm believer, like I don't like to like say that we're doing anything that cool, but like I will say that like we work really hard. And I will say that you can always work harder, no matter what you're doing. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Everyone I talk to that's an entrepreneur or has a business or is in music or anything, it's like, if you're complaining, you're not working hard enough because you shouldn't have to complain. Like, you really just need to get to the grindstone and just like, and do it.
Yeah,
you know?
hustling.
And before you know it, it works out. I mean, if you're working hard enough, no matter what. Hopefully. You know, but most of the time, anything that we've had stresses about or argued about or worried about, anyone that we've bugged in terms of like shows or anything, it always comes full circle where it works out and you have a really cool opportunity and you're like, wow, you know, this is great. Mm-hmm. This is where we're supposed to be. This is why we're doing this.
It's hard sometimes though when your head's buried and all that shit to remember that that's gonna come or that's what you're working towards or anything. Maybe you don't even have a plan.
And like we've had shows like that where we've been very blessed to have and we're excited for, and then you know, then that show ends up not going as well as we thought, whether it's like something with like the equipment or we were just a little bit underprepared or like something outside of our control happened and then you get really bummed.
Yeah.
But then you have to like...
I would like to add to the learning curve aspect of it, something I completely overlooked is the fact that we're running a business. Mm-hmm. It's like sometimes when you are partying, you know, if you care to, you may be indulging in some drinks, your friends are around, you're at a bar, we've been trained our whole lives to think this is a party, but then for us, it's like, especially James taught me a lot, it's like, okay, well, it's still a business, and there's a lot of like front-end work in terms of negotiating pay, negotiating the schedule, calendars, like everything like that. That's been a really, not tough part for me to learn, but just to remember, because I have so much passion for this to where I would do it for free, a lot. But then you gotta flip the switch and remember, okay, if I'm this squeezed for time and you spend 5 hours just playing, it's like, man, you gotta get paid or you have to grow your business somehow. It's not just partying all the time, because then you're just partying. I mean, that's fine if that's what you choose to do it for, but we're trying to build something bigger. We're trying to actually grow and have a good business.
Yeah, a good way to picture it too, because I mean, all the time it's really not about money necessarily. It is, but it isn't. It's one of those like double-edged sword things, and it comes down more so to principle, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, is is what you're doing of value to you, whether it's for money or not, and are those people that you're doing it for valuing you? And we've definitely had times throughout this year where, both of us have suggested or taken shows where one of us might not be so sure about it. And then you either learn that it was like a mistake and you learn not to do that again or how to handle it next time. And on the other side of the token too, there's been stuff that we've been careful about where, I've been like, we definitely shouldn't do this opportunity, I'm not feeling it. And, Corey might be like, no, just like, let's go for it. And then all of a sudden it turns into a place that you play all the time.
Yeah. Like one person comes in there and it's like somebody who has a connect somewhere and he's like, oh, you guys sound great. Like, wow, okay, cool. This was a win. Even if it, like, the whole night didn't turn out, we got one contact. Like, then those are the moments where I'm thinking of like, okay, right place, right time. Like, we made a good decision.
Yeah, it's just like really trippy how it like works that way sometimes, where you just are like riding the wave of life, where you're like, okay, like, why do things happen the way that they do? And then I'll, what I mean?
100%. Like, you've been doing this for 10 years, and think about how like just this has spawned and like it ramped up so heavy for you in just this past 12 months.
Yeah, I think it's always been something that I've wanted to do, and I've had my own struggles with different jobs and relationships and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I will say that I guess I grew up a lot the past year. I'm very lucky to have the job that I do because it enables me to be able to support doing this, nights and weekends, and we get a lot of support. My fiance is very supportive and has always encouraged me, and I've had a great support system there. Of course, having the right partner. I guess in the past, while I did take it seriously, not seriously enough to really make anything come of it. There's also the confidence thing, you grow confidence over time, and you learn the do's and the don'ts.
Yeah.
You come up with the right brand. And I feel like for me personally, I guess kind of putting all that together finally, like this year was like the culmination of like knowing what to do somewhat, what you want out of it. And it just kind of came together, which I'm super proud of. I'm personally just very happy that it's gotten to this point because, like I said, I've been doing it since I was like 16, 17 years old. Watching YouTube videos of people that I admire and want to, kind of do the same thing. It's like chasing a dream. And even if it doesn't turn into like, I'm not trying to like become the next Diplo or anything like super crazy like that where that's the goal, but to be able to like do
Why
something.
isn't it?
Well,
Didn't you always start shooting the moon?
to be Diplo?
No, to be your own, but if you had that level. Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean, I guess, like in the sense that it's one of those things where it's not a do or die if you get to that point.
Sure.
It's the comfortability of doing what makes you happy and seeing stuff come from it while maintaining the idea that you want to always better yourself.
Got
If that makes sense.
Yes.
I mean, like when we started in January, we were playing at a bar. We're just like, okay, cool, like, and getting paid, so that was a first. But like 1 month later, we were asked to, and at this point, I didn't even really listen to house music or electronic music. But then we were asked to open up for like a pretty respected DJ. And like for me to even just see that like grow over time and like play for bigger DJs, it's cool because there's avenues for you to not be like at this just playing bars all the time. And then there's like Diplo, but then there's like a nice middle ground where you can, if you're putting out good music, you can get respect and playtime from like very cool DJs and get on tours, travel. That's like really one of my goals is like if we can travel.
Yeah, I guess to kind of talk about that more for a second, just to like explain what I meant more is essentially like the long term of this project I think would be cool if I love my job here and Corey set up for a really great job that you went to school for. Corey, you have your master's, right?
Yeah, and accounting.
Hey, me too.
So it's super awesome. So in terms of like careers, we both have careers that we really like, where we're not going to throw anything away just to be like try to be a superstar DJ or something like that. Like some people have that idea that that's what they want, and while that's cool, that's not necessarily like what we're about. What we are about though is playing good shows and showing people cool music and putting out good music ourselves, and hopefully getting to travel and meet other people and maybe work with some people that we look up to that will eventually become peers.
Yeah.
If we can get if we can get some singles out on labels that we look up to, because it works a lot differently than like if a band or like someone like that was trying to get signed. I mean, there's all these different electronic music labels. A lot of them are ran by the artists themselves, and they can release your music as like a single or as like an EP or as on a compilation with other artists. And there's more opportunity now than ever for DJs in our position to put music out, and have it be recognized to where you can get on more shows, you can start playing in other states, you can become part of these like little mini families in a sense.
Sure.
And once your music is out there like that, there's endless opportunity if it's good, where other DJs want to play it, and then more people are hearing it, And if you're at that point where, you can work your career, but then also you can write music at night, and you can maybe fly out to Colorado to play a show on a Saturday, and like have like mini tours and mini, events and shows, be part of festivals. That's kind of like where I personally, I think, Corey too, that's kind of like where we see it going, where, you can have a career and have a family, but still be a part of this scene and, make an impact and kind of like leave your mark in a sense,
I totally get that, and it's more speaks to like just doing something that makes you happy, not to get famous and get the money, but because you love it, right? Like, that's the difference.
Yes, I mean, some people are those leaders where they can create a label and have it be their full-time job, and they're touring the country and they're traveling and or you're an artist doing the same thing. But there's also a lot of people that just do it kind of like by that mentality where it's like they have what they normally do and they have families. A lot of DJs like that are married and have kids, but they're still able to like, go on small tours or put up, music and do stuff like that and be a part of it.
For sure.
No, I love it. So you guys, if the opportunity arises, do you want to quit full-time jobs?
I don't think so.
Corey would. This is a counter assessment.
I'm also at a very different stage in my life. Like, I'm 23, like, I don't have a fiance. I don't know. I'm essentially prepared for anything. Because like I said, I had no idea that we would be, even at the beginning of this year, sitting in a chair with you guys being able to explain our DJ career. Like at that point I was just throwing records on my turntables and every once in a while my friends would come over. Like that, here we are playing clubs, we have full schedules, we're getting like booked by people in other cities. Like, so okay, if that's in 1 year, just with working really hard, you never know what's gonna happen. So I'm open. That's how I would check the box.
Open to anything within reason.
Yeah.
I mean,
but not quitting the job and then waiting for that breakaway moment.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the hard part.
Which some people have to do that for certain things, and I wouldn't knock anyone if they did, but
yeah,
we like to be pretty level-headed with big dreams.
And decisions, it's very easy to get ahead of yourself and to let that dictate what you do in life, and usually that doesn't get you anywhere. If you dream too hard and you don't have something substantial to kind of keep you grounded, like a fiance or like a career or like a college degree or anything like that, And I mean, a lot of these people that you look at, they kind of started out, I think it was Greenwald that was a chemist.
Yeah.
Am I right saying that?
Yeah,
he's a big house music pioneer and
open forum.
He again, if I have any details wrong, then I'm sorry, but I think he started out in chemistry or something other like that, and then now he has, he's a pioneer of like house music in his label, and he's done so much, and that's pretty much all he does now. You know what I mean? So it kind of can take you anywhere depending on what you do. You could start off on one thing and totally go something else completely. And that's the same for any job. I mean, it doesn't have to be like a DJ or an artistic direction. You could start out as a cop and then you could end up wanting to be a chef. And I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that do plenty of other great things, that have similar stories and situations because everyone's just living and doing.
I started with a finance degree. Got a time in finance, and now here I am in marketing.
That's right.
Never would have thought that.
I'd say one challenge for me is like, as I've become to really enjoy house music, explain to other people like the vibe and I guess the difference, because a couple of years ago when like EDM and festivals, all of that blew up, I think people kind of have if you don't know what it is, people have a distorted reality. I think that like they're just gonna go and it's just gonna be like fist pumping. So like for me to convince my friends that don't really know what it is, and like to explain for them like the vibe, like going out to the club, looking nice with your friends, like you try to like explain to them to make it approachable rather than try to make it seem like something that they can't do or like can't get into. That's been like one challenge for me as to where a lot of my friends just like getting a 30 pack and sitting in the park. It's like, okay, well maybe we should all dress nice because it's nice to look nice and go out and have a good night.
Yeah. Where have you guys, you put it in a bunch of different places, done like a bunch of different types of, say like performances now, like where have been your favorite places to play? I guess let's just say like top one, and then what type of performances has been your favorite?
That's tough.
My type of performances, hands down, are always very much the ones that were opening for someone that we look up to. You know,
where are those usually at? Are those usually like the right type of person? Like,
yeah, Site 1A is like the prime location that we do that.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, they get all types of different artists, you know, all different skill levels, from OGs that have been in it since the 90s to, you know, up and coming like EDM DJs and everything in between. So we've opened up for a handful of people there. I think we've done Ardalan off of Dirty Bird Records. He's a big house guy. Bijou was another guy that we've opened for. Green Velvet, like we mentioned. Moon Boots was the most recent one. Moon Boots was really special, one of our favorite artists in general. And we actually played with him on a boat first. There was like the 3-city boat cruise that we did, so
it's pretty sweet.
yeah, you buy tickets and you get to go on the boat and it sails around, and you know, it was us and our buddy Shaken and Moon Boots, and we all played. And then at the end of that, you know, we went back to Site and continued playing there, and we all did a second set there. So not only did we get to open for him and play at Site and everything, which we already like to do, but being on a boat and getting to be like very close and personal with him and have that like intimacy was really cool. And then yeah, the next one that we have coming up is this weekend, this Friday, with Gene Ferris in Wolf Park.
Yeah, and to kind of like paint the picture a little bit more, these people, they're putting out the music that like we're on Spotify, putting on repeat, like how did they do this? This song is such a jam, jamming it out to in the car. That's what we play at the parties. And then somehow we have the opportunity to stand side by side with them. And they'll be like, oh, what's up? Like, you guys are best friends. Dope. Like, your music sounds good. And then they'll go into the equipment and then they'll feed off from us. And with Moon Boots, that was on a boat. So it's like, that's a pretty epic experience to be able to like, someone that you look up to so high, they're able to like come down and like, we've been lucky that everyone that we've played with has been we're all human.
Everyone has been very humble and very cool, which is great. And it was a lot because their music, in our opinion, is great, obviously. Mm-hmm. So to have them be like their music is, where it's just all great, as an experience is really cool. Those are my favorite kind of nights, you know, that's where it's really special, because that's also ultimately what we're trying to do. We're trying to, you know, put out music that maybe these people will eventually be playing at shows and maybe like sign one of their labels, or, you know, get the opportunity to play with them again, whether it's in Chicago or at a festival or another state. You know, so those are definitely the best shows to play on, and kind of what we want to gear towards in the future, doing a lot more of, hopefully. We do have 2 like residency type spots, one of which is Snap Boys. We play there the 1st and 3rd of every month.
They just got a new space, didn't they?
Yep.
So they're on the east side now, right?
Yep.
How is it?
It didn't open yet, did it?
No, they opened in December, and I just learned that they're actually keeping the original.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So yeah, you asked like what are your favorite types of shows, and I would like to agree, like playing the club, opening for headliners, like that's awesome. But on the flip, you have a place like Snack Boys, which has great cocktails, amazing food, and always really cool people.
Great staff.
Yeah, and I live just like a couple blocks away. It's like in a completely different way. I love that too, because we play for 4 hours. We get to play any genre, hip hop, old school, funk, house music, and it's right there. So it's like it's kind of hard to gauge. Each gig has its own little characteristics that make it more fun.
And playing at like site will be kind of like you're playing for an hour, and you're playing like a very specific type of set that caters to, you know, like what you want to showcase and whatnot. And there's like lights and the smoke machine and the dance floor, and it's a lot more like, you know, a thing. And then you go to Snack Boys, and that's us holding it down for like 4 hours straight, and we're playing, you know, different types of music than we would at like
people are eating,
people are
drinking cocktails.
It's a different environment, but it's equally cool in its own right.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So love playing there. We have a couple other spots that we play frequently. Iron Horse Hotel is one. We usually play Fridays there. We're gonna be doing some brunch sets as well throughout, you know, the rest of the year.
How are the brunch sets? You like that?
We did one brunch set. Normally we've played mostly the Friday night ones.
No.
The one brunch that we did was actually with Lex Allen back during like Pride Week, and that was actually really cool. You know, it was a lot of fun. A lot of the time they have other stuff going on, whether it's like a small fashion show or some sort of like
a fashion show there. That was interesting.
Yeah, or like they'll have like a fundraiser or like a silent auction. So usually Iron Horse has like some sort of like event going on while we DJ, and it's also during like dinner time. So DJing in that kind of environment is also different because dancing in there to party, or you're playing casually while people are eating and like watching a fashion show, or you know, it's always different. It's always cool though.
That's why you're gonna have talented people behind the decks. Like we've had one where it was a fashion show that they gave us a pretty specific style, but they wanted us to play what we wanted. So it was like curating like a cool, chic kind of vibe. And the next time we played there, it was a biker night, and they asked for rock and roll. So it's like those are two completely different ends of the spectrum. And so we're still staying true to ourselves, but also kind of making everyone happy.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a lot of talent and a big knowledge base of music to be able to juggle all these things and not fumble.
No. 100%. Well, I'd assume that's like a pretty big part about being a DJ, like getting better at DJing is being able to DJ different types of music. You know, you go to this event and these are the type of people that are there. Or you're here, or like you just said, you're at Site 1A or whatever it is, and a completely different type of crowd comes in and you have to quickly change
the crowd.
And with us learning from each other, that's like what's really cool is like I've always loved like hip hop and R&B and older music that I would never have thought of to play while DJing because it just wasn't where my interest was. And Corey might have listened to like some house music and drum and bass and the different electronic stuff, but more so had like hip hop records. So by us working together, we kind of like almost like taught each other different ways and styles of DJing.
Yeah.
And we both caught on very quickly where it kind of melded into our very own style almost, where not only can we kind of like play anywhere and feel comfortable, but when we do play special stuff where we want to like really represent ourselves and do something different than other people in Milwaukee, we can kind of like hold it down that way too.
That's cool.
So,
you guys ever been to the Milwaukee Art Museum, like Friday night, how's it called? Silent Disco?
No, I have not been to Silent Disco. Have you?
I've been to Silent Discos. I think there was one at Summerfest or Pride Fest or something like that once or twice where I've been to a couple, like a long time ago. Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah, no, they have ones there, they like battle, they have like 3 different DJs and you put headphones on and you pick like what you want.
You can switch between them and it's usually all 3 different styles.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, if I ever got the opportunity to do one, you know, if you ever had that.
I feel like that'd be a totally different vibe too, because you don't even necessarily hear your music.
Yep.
You know,
it's something interesting about those specifically is a lot of the time when you're playing a big system, even if you make a small mistake or if, you know, something happens, it's almost played off like it's a part of the song or it's like an effect.
Yeah.
Because there's so much open space. When people are listening to you through headphones like that, you're actually plugged directly into like just those songs where it's a lot easier to hear when those like small nuances where it's like, oh, like that was off timing for a second. Or, oh, that was like a weird like thing that wasn't supposed to be there, you know. So that's like an interesting aspect to it too.
Yeah, that's true. Like, so even when you're just sitting there, you know, practicing or whatever, and you have headphones on, like, it's gotta sound so different than when you're actually playing headphones or something.
That's actually something that I need to work on a lot, is I come from being a bedroom DJ, and my speakers just suck, so I just use my headphones all the time. But when you're at the club and you have a giant sound system behind you, you cannot, I mean, you could, but it's not going to translate as well because those speakers could have one little noise that's just like hurting people's ears. Could sound great to you, but then you take it off and everyone else is hearing something different.
Yeah.
It's actually something I've been like, today I was working on, trying to just get in the habit of taking off headphones.
And every single place sounds completely different. Not one venue has ever been the same. For better or for worse.
Yeah. Well, they probably all have different speakers.
Yep.
Down there, and then not only that, but like the rooms,
Everything plays into it, and or even if you're at a place where you're comfortable in the system, sometimes a speaker doesn't work that night, or there's a bad chord or something goofy. I mean, we run into like all sorts of problems. I'm sure we'll get into more just because that's the way it goes.
Yeah. Which is, I think, an important part of like us grinding out and playing a ton of shows. Because it's getting us prepared for every next show, whether it's an equipment malfunction or getting our chemistry down. Because it still is two of us doing something that sometimes one person would do. It takes a lot of nonverbal communication, a lot of just trying to know what the other person's thinking, and because music is loud, you can't always talk. And DJ culture is so much different. Like in 2019, crowds are facing us. Everyone is watching us. In the 90s, people were just dancing, enjoying. So it's like we have to understand that our body language resonates with what people are like seeing. So if we're out there and we're just, yes, this, that, talking to each other, people are like, okay. But if we're out there grooving, having a good time, like they pick up on that. So it's like also balancing all of that.
I like to think that we communicate pretty well while we're up there too.
Oh yeah, because we are best friends. So like that, I think we have
way earlier. Andrew had asked like a question about like how, I think it was the first question, how do you like DJ together essentially? And a lot of it comes down to like knowing when to help and when to back off.
Yeah.
I mean, there's times where like your hands are full and you're focused on something, but something needs to be adjusted. Someone will also reach over and adjust the level of a certain volume or something like that. Or something kind of like falls off where you have to kind of like adjust it. And there's other times where the person's handling it just fine. You're just letting them do their thing, and
No, yeah, that's a huge learning curve, especially when you guys first started.
Yeah. I'm glad to say too that we're both pretty involved. I mean,
yeah.
Almost every time we play, it's pretty much both of us equally putting in the work to hold everything down and to give each other the space, but also to like contribute a song or an idea. And if something is great, you praise that, and if something's kind of goofy, you're just like, well, maybe we'll just want to do that next time, or we'll scrap this song.
Yeah.
It happens. It's
Yeah.
For sure. No, that's cool. So I got some kind of less DJing questions, but just overall life experience ones. Like, so what would be the one thing, and it's probably gonna be so much different for both of you. What is the one thing that you would tell your younger self, like now that you have some experience in this, like what would you, maybe even just a year ago or however long ago that you want to go back and talk to yourself? What would you tell your younger self?
You go first.
I've been sober for a year now, about. So definitely I think that earlier on when I was younger DJing, I feel like it was very easy to get caught up in the idea of drinking and partying and, all the stuff that went along with it. And sticking through all that, I've definitely learned what a passion I have for it. And, it's definitely stood the test of time through all that. That's why I'm still doing it. So I think that maybe I would have just had more discipline early on with staying focused. That's easier said than done, obviously, for a lot of people, because you have to learn and go through those things and whatnot. But I definitely would have tried my best to be disciplined earlier on and also have a little bit more confidence, maybe just like seizing the day a little bit more, not wasting as much time.
So you mean disciplined with really like your work, like focusing, putting it all in?
Yeah. I've always been like a hardworking person, and I've always been a motivated person, but that doesn't always equal confidence and discipline, when it comes to putting yourself out there and also, really focusing on the areas that you need to work on rather than just like the things that you like or the things that you enjoy, doing. And that can be said with like a lot of different things other than just DJing too. But yeah, I think just about that. But at the same time too, everything happens for a reason, and you know, everything's a part of the process. Is what I would say. You know, that's part of it. So
I would tell my younger self that life is relatively short. Yeah, enjoy your triumphs and learn from your tribulations. I think that works. But yeah, I mean, I honestly remember one time I failed a test in high school. And I mean, I didn't study at all. I thought I was going to knock it out of the park. And I'll never forget that moment because like I just failed to prepare. And like that forever sticks with me. It's like, yeah, you gotta work hard. But in the grand scheme, most of the things that go wrong in your life, like that's very short term. Especially with like relationships and yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
No, cool. So another one. What would you guys, you can maybe do this answer some together, what would you recommend for aspiring DJs or musicians, artists, anyone that's in your space that wants to kind of do something similar to you guys are doing?
I would say keep it funky and bring something unique to the table.
Keep it funky.
Yeah, and like have your own character because especially if you're playing other people's music, how is that going to because anyone can do that. How is that going to translate and connect to a crowd of people? How are you going to get people to come spend money and spend their time? Because I mean that's kind of a big ask to be like, spend your Friday night coming to what I'm presenting, and you have to be unique.
No, for sure.
Stay true to yourself.
Hell yeah, I think that's so true in so many things.
Yeah.
Just being just original, authentic is so key. You know, just even in business, like something that we found personally is when we are authentic with our clients and we are authentic just with prospects or anyone, man, it's so much better received. Everything you do is just, I don't know, you can just tell a big difference there.
And people are going to want...
They respect that.
Yeah, and everyone essentially, like, whether we like to or not, it's like, what are you going to do for me type mentality.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think that's toxic because, I mean, we all think that way. So it's like, what are you going to provide for somebody else?
No, yeah, love it.
I think another thing too is be getting started. I mean, just do it. Is kind of like, yeah, it sounds goofy in a sense, but at the same time, the few people that have like, there's been people that have come up to me while DJing like a wedding or DJing in general, or like even after a DJ set where you know you have the person that comes up and says, "Oh, I have these questions," and they just start asking the most basic questions. Not that that's bad, but you can just tell that that person is apprehensive about starting because it's something that they would know if they just like did it.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
No.
And it's so okay to ask questions. Go on YouTube, watch 100 hours of videos. You know, buy something really cheap from the store, like to get started. Go to Music Around and buy the cheapest, you know, controller they have. That's all that you can afford. And
for sure. No, just starting, man. I hear that a lot, like with so many things. Especially just bringing it back to my business. You know, people that are doing social media or marketing just for their own companies, they come to me with all these questions, complaints, or just, I don't know, just worries, I guess, about a specific thing. And it's like, well, have you tried it yet? It's like, well, no, but. It's like, no, not but.
Try. You don't need to be too apprehensive, otherwise you're just gonna forever be wondering.
What if?
People are afraid to expose themselves, which feeling vulnerable is scary, but that's like, what are you willing to risk to hit that higher level?
Definitely. And that's when Andrew and I were just talking about this in a recent podcast, but I personally, I think we both feel like the biggest type of growth you're ever going to get is when you make yourself vulnerable like that, but then fail.
Yeah.
Because when you fuck up and you make something like a big failure, you're never going to do that again. Or you're going to do everything you can to not do that again. Because that feeling when you do fail, that sucks. So like failing forward versus just like failing without reason.
And most of the time, I mean, if you feel gracefully, like if you do something like, yeah, you might be embarrassed, but unless you do something like a jerk, then people don't really remember. I mean, if you do something goofy at a show, or I don't know, if you, with whatever really, if you make a bad impression and it's not really your fault because you were giving it an honest try, people aren't going to remember that. If you go out of your way to do something to screw someone over or piss someone off, obviously they're going to remember you failing in that regard, but in general, if you're keeping it real and trying your best, just being a good person, all the stuff that you hear all the time, they're the basic traits of being a good human, then you'll probably do okay.
No, I love it.
You know?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree, man. Being a good person is something that a lot of people overlook.
we try our best to be fair and be honest when we play shows, and put in the work and the time and do stuff even if like we're not asked to do it in terms of like promoting and all that.
Yeah.
And we try to help other people out by going to other people's shows, being supportive on social media, you know, getting people on our shows when we can. And any little thing, like giving advice to upcoming people that want to try to DJ and stuff. Anything that you can do just to like help other people out and be supportive, you know, that's how you get it in return.
No, I love that. Hell yeah, man. Cool. I mean, this has been great so far. You guys have anything else that you want to talk about before we, you know, throw some plugs your guys' way?
Not really. I mean, yeah, we covered a lot.
It's been fun.
I'm really excited just to keep the journey going. I'm half surprised that we've done so much this year. And at the same time, I'm not surprised because of how hard we've worked. I was telling Corey the other night that I feel like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. I kind of, even if Corey didn't necessarily think all this stuff was going to happen as fast, I kind of had it in my mind like a year-long plan of like what we could achieve if we, you know,
Work hard.
plugged away at it. And we're pretty much, you know, I think we're like 8 months in. I'd say that we're like on track, if not a little bit further with what I was hoping. So
It's amazing.
yeah.
That's so cool. Awesome. So let's have you guys tell people, one, where you can find them online, digital-wise, and then let's hear about some upcoming events you guys got.
Yeah, so once again, we're best friends. You can pretty much find us by typing in DJ Best Friends on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, SoundCloud. We have a website that's in production right now that'll have more cohesive, you know, dates that we're playing and stuff like that. Not on Spotify or iTunes yet, but you know, pay attention, and hopefully we'll be on there in the coming months. And yeah, got some other stuff planned that we're excited to, you know, take a crack at.
Oh yeah. And then you can find us, the Casual Millennials Podcast, on YouTube, Spotify, all your major streaming platforms, and just the handle is going to be Casual Millennial Podcast for all of that. And my personal one is Eric_has22, and you can find me there. Thanks for listening, guys.